What's up, people? It's Dylan Alexander. Thank you for checking me out. And on today's video, I want to talk about why more people should talk to themselves more. Now, I know that sounds crazy, talking to yourself. That's like for crazy people, right? But I want you to think about it differently, man. It's a really useful thing to have in-depth conversations with yourself. And you don't have to necessarily be talking out loud, but for sure in your mind you should be having conversations with yourself. You should be comfortable doing that because for me at least, and I know I've heard other people do it with other great-minded men that I know that are able to talk to themselves in the way that they need to, because it's important to do this, right? Because you are the only person that knows everything about you. From day one till today, you have seen everything you've been through. You've had to go through all the difficulties you've went through. You've experienced all the joys, the ups, the downs. You've seen it all in your life. So when it comes to making decisions and having to make tough choices, we can go to other people, right? We can go to other people and ask them for help, or, God forbid you go to a therapist. I mean, hey, if you go to a therapist, that's cool. I'm not talking down on you, but me, I would never go to a therapist because I am my best therapist. You understand? And only other great minds will understand what I'm saying, right? I have very in-depth conversations with myself. And even like when I'm at my own place, I live by myself, so I talk out loud. I love it. Sometimes. I don't like to do it too much because I feel like I sound crazy. And I can really hype myself up, and it just, I got a lot of energy, and I'll really go in sometimes. But I noticed that whenever I have to like really think something out and make sense of stuff, I get to the answers that I need from just having a real deep conversation with myself and asking myself hard questions that may be uncomfortable. I wouldn't even ask some of these questions to other people because I know they would be uncomfortable. But me, I love myself. I know I'm looking out for me. And I always am quick to check myself whenever I'm getting out of control. And it's like, I know I got my back, right? So I'm constantly making sure I'm doing what's best for me. And I ask these questions to myself, and I force myself to answer these tough questions. Now that right there, I know I'm gonna probably lose a lot of people right there because that doesn't make any sense, right? If you're just surface level thinking, you're like, man, how can you ask a question with the same mind that you're answering that question, right? That doesn't make any sense. Because it's like, why would you ask the question, but you have the answer already? But really, what it is when you ask questions, now you put it out there, right? It's almost like being in school and you have a teacher that's asking the class a tough, critical question, and it forces the students to now they got to think critically. And it's the same concept when you ask yourself questions. You initially have a question, right? It'll pop up in your head, some question that's really hard, and you're like, damn, let me ask a question to myself, right? Because initially you don't have the answer at first. At first, right? Keep that in mind. Initially, you do not have the answer. But once you ask the question, and there's got to be some kind of science behind this. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm sure it's backed by science. And I'm actually confident that it is backed by science. But when you ask a question, right, immediately it's like your mind starts working. Your mind is like a problem solver. and it starts figuring out the answer. And it's a really good practice for your mind, man. It keeps you sharp. And I do it all the time, and it's why I feel like I'm the stuff. I'm dope. And I feel like I'm sharper than most people, because most people is what I realized. I realized this a few years ago, and it's the reason that I don't I don't want to do business with low vibration people. I don't want to do business with people that are just not at my level, because they're just so lazy minded. And people all the time ask me questions that is just like, bro, you didn't even take a moment to think. If you just took a moment to think, you wouldn't even ask that question, wasting my time and yours. But anyways, let me not get so sidetracked. But I'm saying most people don't think deeply. They don't critically think. And because of this, it allows lazy thinking. It allows really stupidity, right? And it's not because they are mentally, challenged or anything. It's really the fact that they're lazy. Mentally lazy is the real term it should be. Most people are mentally lazy. They don't think. And this is why it's important for you to critically think as often as you can. Well, whenever you have to come up with an answer, like, force yourself to think critically. Okay? And your mind gets to working. Your mind will find the answer. Our brains are like computers, man. You give it a task, it's gonna figure that out. And it's smarter than AI, man. I don't care what nobody says, man. AI ain't got nothing on the human brain. Now, granted, yeah, AI might have access to the internet and it can pull things together and whatever. But I'm saying, from the data that our minds have, whatever data you have access to, it's infinitely better than AI. I don't care what nobody says. Or computers. Computers and all that are mimicked after the human brain, okay? But I'm saying all this to say that when you talk to yourself, man, you become so in tune with your thoughts. Like, your thoughts are not you. Your thoughts are they're just information coming from the ether. It's coming from, data. You're gathering data over your lifetime, the things you learned, and, you're just cross-referencing things and comparing and whatever. It's just so much that goes on with our minds that we have to take control of it. We have to figure out how to think. And I think this video is super important because, as I mentioned, AI is, the past 2-3 years, is taken off like crazy, and it's just starting, and it's about to go crazier. It's really it's kind of scary how fast it just came out of nowhere, and it's looking to take over everything. Jobs are about to go extinct, and that's why it's important to be a great thinker. Moving forward from here on out, you have to be a better thinker, because if not, your occupation is going to get swallowed up. Whatever, if you're at a low level job or whatever, you're going to get replaced, and it's going to be hard to get paid out here until they figure out the universal basic income, which who knows if that's even going to be a thing. But even then, you don't want to rely on a minimum base salary, that little mini check that comes in. No, you want to be able to thrive out here and enjoy life. And the only way to really do that is to be an advanced thinker, an advanced problem solver, and to not be like everybody else, which, like I mentioned, everybody else mostly are lazy thinkers. So to counteract this, man, get better at talking to yourself, getting familiar with your mind, how you think. Your mind is a powerful tool, man, and I can't stress this enough. People don't use their minds sharply enough and it gets dull. But me, I feel confident that I'll survive the AI gold rush. I feel like I'll figure things out because I'm a great problem solver. And I encourage that for you as well, man. And it really does start with being able to effectively, efficiently communicate with yourself. Because once you can communicate with yourself well, you can talk to anybody the same way. And they'll be blown away by how much of a good thinker and communicator and action taker that you are. And you're just totally in control of your life, and you're just gonna be thriving. And that's where I see myself going. I'm not where I wanna be by any stretch of life, but I've made it this far off of my good thinking, and I believe I'll continue to do well moving forward and beyond. So I hope this helps, man. Get your what do they call it? The thinking cap. Put your thinking caps on, man. It's the only thing that's gonna help you survive out here. All right. So I hope this video helps, man. And let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you mess with me. And I got more content on the way, man. I appreciate y'all watching. And I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.